Dave Scott Hub Media. Today I'm joined by Lindsay from Absolute Home Care. How are you, Lindsay? It's great to see you again.
I am excellent, Dave. It's great to be here.
I want to take a few minutes, if you don't mind, because I saw you have the Fall Health and Wellness Expo coming up in Waterford at the Old Town Hall, Saturday, October 4th. So I want to let people know all about it. Can you give me an
Yeah,
overview of what the event's about?
sure. So this is kind of a follow-up. We ran an event this spring in Port Dover, which was a smashing success, and most of our vendors were like, "Yeah, we would love to see more of these fall events." And so I started thinking, and oh no, no, no. We decided to run it. So, Waterford is often neglected from things like this. So, and then it kind of covers the second area. So Saturday, October the 4th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., free admission. So anyone wants to come through is free. Very reasonably priced for vendors. It's going to be at the Waterford Old Town Hall, which is accessible. We're going to be using the main room. And then if we have overflow kind of in the sort of foyer, in the entrance by the stairwell as well. So we'll have same thing. We'll have door prizes. We're going to have a good mix of vendors. And we still have space, so not for profits, charities, that kind of thing are 40 plus HST, businesses are 75 plus HST. So very reasonable. I mean, it's hard to find something that's going to be that affordable for an all-day event. And keeping it free to the public to come in is a big thing that I want to make sure we endure or endeavor to have, because people are more likely to come out if they don't have to pay. And I mean, why should they have to pay? We're covering the cost by us being there. Between our vendors, myself, we've got Norfolk Hearing on as our gold sponsor. Again, they were our sponsor in the spring. So hopefully it should be a good day. Well, no, it is going to be a good day. No, hopefully about it.
And can you, for the folks that don't know what Absolute Home Care is, can you give us a quick overview? I know, but maybe there's folks out there that don't know about you guys yet.
Yeah, so Absolute Home Care is a division of Absolute Respiratory. So, Absolute Respiratory, 15 years in business in Norfolk and Tillsonburg doing home oxygen, CPAP respiratory care. This year, so in 2025, expanded into Absolute Home Care. So, PSW, nursing, foot care, exercise care, private pay, but, also eligible through benefit plans and things like that. So providing that extra bit of care to you or your loved ones in their home, helping them, be able to live their best lives.
And just can I ask who's going to be at the Fall Health and Wellness Expo? Like what businesses? Can you give us a couple
Yeah.
ideas?
So, and I'll probably miss a few of but I'll try and get all the ones that I know we have.
Sure.
So we've got the Armstrong Clinic. We've got obviously Absolute Respiratory, Absolute Home Care will be there. Cancer Support Resource Program will be there. Norfolk Hearing Clinic will be there. We've got the AIDS Network is going to be there. Norfolk County Fire will be there. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking at some of the others. Lack of Wellness is going to be there. So we're aiming to have a really good mix of things coming in. So it's it's a little bit of everything. So we want to be able to have obviously physical health. So that's where you've got things like myself, the Armstrong Clinic. That we want to be able to have groups like the Cancer Support and Resource Program. So a great program in Norfolk County for individuals and families going through cancer because they can provide financial support. They have support groups. As a former long time board member of that group, a really good group to have there. We want to be able to have physical activity groups. So we're hoping to get some of maybe the sports groups in. I know in the spring we had, for example, South Coast Kids for Special Needs. So we want to kind of be able to not just like physical like health providers there, but also have kind of mental health, uh,
Yep.
physical, but like activity health there. And I'd even really like to get in Dover, we were lucky we had the seniors center there. So we're hoping to get some kind of like service club, activity clubs. And so that's kind of our goal this week, is to kind of get it filled up. But we'd like to have a broad picture, everything that's there, right? So, because being healthy is more than just going to your health providers.
I like that because you're something for every age almost too, right? You're sort of
Yeah.
crossing that. Your business deals with all different age groups. So I like that you did that. You've opened that door to pretty much everybody. I
Yeah.
do have a I do have a question, and I would really want to get your opinion on this because it's something that I didn't really think about till today, and you kind of tipped the scale and made me more aware of it. But one of the things that we do, when we have to take care of somebody that's maybe ill, you want to make sure you do your best job to help them, but at the same time, if you have to step out to do something, there's always this guilt. You know what I mean? Like you're feeling like, oh, I should stay there. I should always be there to help. But you need to step outside of that because there's like caregiver guilt, there's caregiver burnout. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I don't think we really understand that yet, the caregiver guilt. And I know when you're with what you guys are doing with Absolute Home Care, this is something that you're talking to folks about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So caregiver burnout is huge. And again, Absolute Home Care was spawned after 15 years of being in the community with Absolute Respiratory. And so you see these things, and that's, I would see it, and my respiratory therapists and nurses would see it with our oxygen patients, or so our chronically ill patients. Um, you know, you see this. So whether it's kids, rotating and caring for mom and dad, or spouses caring for each other, you do get caregiver burnout and caregiver guilt. And so I think that guilt is a little bit different than burnout. Like guilt you really see with spouses. Um and sometimes I almost want to say with like husbands a little bit more than wives, like the guilt. And I think I would say I observe husband caregiver guilt, definitely in an older demographic, because their wives traditionally looked after everything. And now, if the wife is sick, or going through treatment or something like that, there's already a little bit of guilt, I think, for a lot of older men, because, okay, my wife looked after everything. Now I have to look after. I mean, and obviously that's not always the case. There's always exceptions to that rule, but I've seen that. So, okay, it's my turn to take care of her, but I still want to go see my friend, or I am part of like a, coffee club or whatever, but then I feel this guilt leaving. And, you know, we say, there's services available. Well, we're still able to do our own laundry. We're still able to make our own meals. And like, absolutely. And I mean, you don't have to be 85 years old to be, unfortunately, ill with something chronic. And so, and when you see people who are maybe only 70, and so they think like, oh, we're too young to need this, but take that break, because your spouse, maybe they're okay to, do all those things, but you need someone to be there. Well, personal support workers can come in and they can do respite care. They can just do the simple activities. It doesn't have to always be that bathing, doing your hair, making your dinner, but then it gives you a break, because it's going to kill your relationship if you don't take those breaks. And whether it's parent, child, or spouse, not taking that break in the relationship, you're gonna kill your relationship, whatever it is. So taking that break, it's like when you get on an airplane and they do the safety thing, you have to put your own oxygen mask on before your kids. Sometimes you need to take that break as well, because you need that. Okay, I need that refresh, whether it's just the trip to the grocery store and the bank and the errands, or going for coffee with your buddies that you worked with for 30 years, or whatever it is, taking that break. But we so many times, and I would say sometimes you do see that guilt with parent child, especially if the parent was, that really phenomenal parent who did everything for mom and dad. Maybe, it's the situation where you all live together, things like that. There is that guilt, like they did everything for me. And I'm like, I understand that. And I mean, I completely understand that. My parents are fantastic, and they still do a lot of stuff for me. So you get that guilt, but it's okay to take 3 hours in the week for yourself. And I even see that sometimes our patients, mom or mother-in-law, father-in-law, whatever, is living with the family. Like, maybe I should just quit work so I can be home because they have dementia, and make sure that they're taking their meds. But you have to support your own family too, and you have to have your own sanity. So, but that guilt, it's just there. And again, I think it's not a terrible thing, because it is a little bit of a sign to the character of the person, because I see a lot of patients where their families don't give two cents about their life. So sometimes you kind of get both extremes. And I always think it's a little nicer that someone cares that much that they have guilt, but you have to take care of yourself and you have to save your relationship. And the other
I
thing
think
is too,
too.
like, okay, go ahead,
Go
Dave.
ahead.
I was
Oh
going to
no,
say
you
too,
finish. I have a question.
sometimes too, I think with that caregiver guilt or caregiver burnout is sometimes spouses don't want their, especially women, like don't want their husbands to
That was
be
yeah. That's where
doing
I was going.
some of the personal things, like some of the, if they've lost, if they're incontinent and they've had bladder accidents, like maybe they don't want their spouses to be the ones that have to help them wash the laundry or change the sheets or things like that. And so then having that person come in, it helps save that relationship, right? Because okay, we still have that little bit of intimacy in our relationship, or that little bit of mystery or intrigue or whatever you want to call it.
I think too, when the person that's ill, if the caregiver gets a break, the person that's ill might want to have a change of conversation too. Somebody fresh coming in to say, "Hey, have you thought about trying this?" Or maybe we could do this today, and just color their world a little differently for them, so they get to see things in a different light. Because sometimes yourself, you get into that, I don't want to say rut, but you have your routine, and especially with a caregiver, you're probably going to have that routine daily with that same person. So maybe a little change here and there kind of gives them a little bit more inspiration too, if they're trying to recover from something.
Absolutely. I think that's a big thing. And whether it is a change of conversation around what's going on with the patient physically, like, how can we look
Mm.
at, finding a better way to do something, or even just a change in conversation in general, like, tell me what you did this weekend because I don't get
Yeah.
out very much and I want to hear all about you, or show me pictures of your kids, or tell me if you got a wedding coming up or whatever, right? Just that change in conversation. I mean, myself, I love meeting new people and I love learning all about them and what makes them them. And so for myself, I love that. So I think that if I was housebound or ill and always seeing the same person as my caregiver, I might like a change of pace, right? I think that's a really valid point, Dave.
The other thing too, like you said about caregiver guilt, if the caregiver gets a break, it re-energizes them too, right? So then maybe their philosophy on everything changes a little bit because they get out of that situation for a few minutes, and maybe they recognize another component that they could try. And I think that's the other part of this. You want to be a strong caregiver, not a weak one, correct?
I think that's exactly it, is having that time where whether that caregiver gets out and they're seeing their old friends or they're meeting new friends or they're volunteering in their community, they're they're getting refreshed. Maybe they're learning something new and they start talking to someone at an event they're at, and all of a sudden, like, hey, that's a really good idea, or hey, that's a really good resource. And then they can take it home. I think when I'm out at events and the people I meet, I did the all hands on deck food drive a few weeks ago, and I met some really interesting people, and had really good conversations with them. So yeah, just learning what else is in their community, and especially here, we have a lot of retirees, a lot of people who've moved here after they retire. So they're still not always familiar. A caregiver gets out, they get involved in something, and they're learning something else, like, hey, we could go do this, or here's a resource for us.
Do you guys, with your staff, do you guys pick up on that pretty quickly when, somebody maybe is a little hesitant, but they call, and you can sort of, you did this long enough, you probably sort of feel the sense that there's some caregiver guilt there. And how do you approach it then? How do you talk to that person?
And every person is different. I definitely pick it up, and I've seen it, and again, not just since we've been running home care, but in my entire career. And so everybody is different, but you can pick it up, and it sounds terrible. Like, sometimes it's so well hidden that the families can't
Uh,
see it. They can't see the burnout. They can't see the guilt. And they don't realize too, like, sometimes how much mom or dad is doing for the other person until mom or dad's in the hospital or in long-term care or gone. But everybody's a little different, but you can usually pick up on it. And I will say a lot of people I talk to, they know that they're at the burnout point or they know that they have guilt, and whether they actually say the words directly, like they're saying it without saying it.
Do you guys try and, like, one of the things I've noticed with what the programs that you're running, I mean, when someone comes to you and let's say it's that scenario where they have somebody that needs caregiver assistance, it seems to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys almost say, okay, you're the captain, but we're going to build a team around you just to have those
Absolutely.
supports in place. So talk to that if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything is different. Every patient is different in what they need. What their physical health is like, what their mental health is like, what their family support is like. They might have, a couple of really great kids, but their careers may have taken them far away. And sometimes too, you can go in and you're providing care for husband, wife, one of them, and you realize that, what, there's some care that both people need in this relationship. And sometimes then it makes that a little easier. Like, okay, one person is maybe getting care because they've had surgery, and you get in there and you can start sort of having that conversation that maybe there's something we can do for both of you here, as you heal from surgery, but maybe there's more we can help provide here, that way. So it is, everybody is very different, and it's very tailored to what we want to, what they need, what they can afford, what they need. Um, and what I will say, in having this conversation actually yesterday with one of my primary PSWs, was very few people, once we get in there, we get a routine, we get to know the person that we're helping support. Very few people are like, yeah, we don't need any of this, right? Once they can see the benefit and just everything that we can do, then they're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I need this, whether I want to admit it or not. Very few people are like, yeah, no, this is not for us. I mean, obviously that's the case everywhere, but once you're in there and people can see how much, it's not just, helping me bathe and get my hair done every day, right? It's companionship, it's respite, it's going for walks. And it's tailored to everybody. And because we have a team, so, we have our PSWs, excuse me, we have our nurses. We also have Jamie, who I know you talk with all the time, who's our exercise coordinator, and she's really stepped up to help with a lot of things as well, with Jessie, our nursing leader, being on maternity leave. But we've got this team, and we've got me, who, I've been in this community forever, much like Jamie, so I know what's out there for extra resources. I'm a respiratory therapist, so I can, advise, like, yeah, I think, we should go out and do respiratory assessment. So we've got this whole team complex going on. So we can lean on each other, and we have internal communication and supports. So, we've had patients that a PSW seeing, and like, oh, they've got this wound, and I'll just send a message to our nurse and have her come over and have a look. And that allows us to have unique, customized things, and that's something that's unique. I mean, no home care company, whether they're private pay, or whether they're, through Ontario Health at Home, is so holistically team approached. Respiratory therapists don't exist as case coordinators in any other nursing home care business. So that in itself is kind of unique. And I mean, I love my profession and I love to promote what we do, but we're solely healthcare operated. There is no, yeah, I run the business, but there is no business person managing it. Everyone that you talk to on the phone is at base level going to be a PSW. So everybody is going to have a certain level of home care knowledge when they answer that phone, and everybody's got the experience. So they'll be able to answer a large amount of your questions. And if they can't, then they're going to be able to say, hold on, let me call someone and I'll get back to you.
I never even thought, like, well, what you brought up at the first part of that conversation was about when you're going in, you're looking at both people.
Yeah,
Usually the focus is the caregiver, but I like that because then all of a sudden, if the other partner's struggling with something else, like you said, with the overload, and maybe they just need a hand too a little bit, right? So, wow, you
yeah,
guys, I mean, that's kind of addressing the whole issue then, really.
yeah,
And that's kind of what
yeah.
you want to do when you get into a home. You want to be able to make that help. So the Fall Health and Wellness Expo, Saturday, October 4th.
Yeah.
2025, 10 a.m. till 3
Mhm.
p.m., Waterford Old Town Hall. And if they want to get in touch with you guys, 519-426-1113. It's going to be a great event.
Yes.
Thanks for your time
Yes.
today in doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Dave.
Anything you want to drop in? Any last little tidbit?
You know what? If you are a vendor and you haven't seen our posts or you missed our emails or we haven't reached out, so obviously we started with all of our spring vendors first because we want to give them that respect. We are working through our list of other people that we had contacted. So if you haven't heard from us or you had not heard of us or you couldn't do the spring one, whatever, please reach out to us. We are going to try to keep it so it's not really saturated with one market. Obviously, we don't want, 8 physiotherapists there, which we haven't. We were fortunate in the spring. We were able to kind of one or two of a category. We don't want anything to be overloaded. And we are, I will be very frank and honest, we are not accepting MLMs, so no multi-level marketing. We do want to keep this to our local hands-on businesses, business owners. So reach out to us. Phone or email is expo@absolute-respiratory.com or Facebook us, and we can get you that. So like I said, we are still accepting vendors, or if you have questions about it, anything like that. We really want to get some service clubs in there, and I think that'd be a really good addition.
That's pretty cool that you guys are doing another one. So
Yeah,
congratulations, and I look forward to hearing all about it.
awesome. Thanks, Dave.